Hello, confidence. It's a big subject and it's one that I want to talk about today because I think it's fundamental to everything that we do or don't achieve in our lives. It will depend on how confident we're feeling and our self-esteem, our self-worth, and our self-belief. If we can increase that, grow that, and expand it, I have found in my own life and in that of other clients, many other clients over the last 23 years, that the more confidence we have, the more we will achieve, the more we'll embrace life, the more we'll have fun, make great memories, explore, have great experiences, and reach our full potential. The opposite is true. The less confidence we have, the more we'll shrink our lives, we'll hold ourselves back, we'll live in self-doubt and fear, and we just won't embrace those opportunities or have the fulfilled life that perhaps we should and could. So, confidence is a passion of mine, which is why I specialize in confidence for both teenagers and adults. And I'm going to give you some tips in the next 50 minutes or so on how you can apply some strategies in your everyday life in order to build your own confidence and get the life that you would really like and deserve. So, in order to do that, I'm going to ask you a question. What percentage would you say in your everyday life of your performance, or in fact your lack of performance, would you put down to your mindset, frame of mind, what you're saying, what you believe, etc.? How much of your performance do you feel is related to your mindset? When I ask this of audiences and workshops and groups, many of them will say around 80 to 90%. Some will say 100%. And I actually believe that that's true. I do believe it's 90 to 100% of our performance or lack of performance is down to our mind, what we believe, what we're saying, the narrative that we're running. I then ask the next question to you, which is, do you believe we are in control of influencing it and improving it? Again, when I ask this to audiences and groups, they almost all say yes. And I believe that's true. That's why I do this job, because I know that it's never too late to grow your confidence, that we can improve our mindset and therefore our performance. The third part of this question then is a bit of a hand-on heart, soul-searching question. If that's true and you agree that a large proportion of our performance and our actions are down to our mindset and that we can control or influence and improve it, how much time do you spend consciously per week working on your mindset, improving it, actively improving it through many different approaches? And many of the people in my audiences will actually honestly, hand on heart, say virtually none, very little, if any. And of course, my next question would be, why not? If we believe that it is so tantamount and important to what our life is like, what we do in our life and our performance, and we believe we're in control of influencing it and improving it, then is it an oversight on our part to neglect that area of development? Could we benefit if we spent a little bit more time improving our mindset, and that would have a knock-on effect? And that's exactly what I'm going to propose in this presentation. So if we don't, I believe it's a little bit like taking our car for an MOT to the garage and saying, you know what, don't worry about the MOT, the brakes, don't look at the brakes, ignore those. We're missing, therefore, a fundamental part that's crucial, essential. We'll all have heard on the bus, people talking on the tube, the underground, or around the dinner table in a pub. People commonly talk about their fitness or lack of fitness, or what they're hoping to achieve, or what they've just been to and attended, or what class, or what they're working on, or the fact that they need to work on some fitness, or they've signed up for a marathon or a challenge, or they've just done a triathlon, whatever it is. Our fitness is a common everyday conversation. Same too, perhaps with our nutrition. You'll hear people talking about they're giving up carbs, or they're going vegetarian or vegan, or they're on a diet, or they've put weight on, or they're even on the jabs, or things like that. We're all conscious of our nutrition, our weight, and that aspect of our health. And it's a common everyday topic. It might be on talk shows and things like that all the time, magazines. Same is true of alcohol intake. The fact that we might be doing dry January, or we're trying to cut down in the week and only have some alcohol at weekends, or the fact that we actually don't drink, or we're giving up drink, or whatever it is, it's again a conversation that we can regularly hear. It's talked about, it's known about. Stress management, relaxation, try to have a work-life balance. They're everyday words and topics in magazines and conversations too. But when do we ever hear about the mindset? When do you ever overhear a couple talking on a bus, some friends, about their mindset and that they're working on it, they've improved it, or they need to, or whatever it is? It just is something that's so overlooked. And I actually firmly believe it's at the foundation of what we're trying to do. I think if we get the mindset right, and I've seen this time and time again with clients, once we get the confidence, the belief, the self-belief, the right mindset in place, the rest falls into place. They are much more likely to get fit and achieve those physical challenges and goals they've set. They are much more likely to achieve the weight and the body image and the health and everything they're trying to work on if they're in the right mindset. They are much more likely to look after their stress and relaxation, work-life balance, time management, all of those sorts of skills if they're in the right mindset. When we've got the wrong mindset, when we're working against ourselves, the rest just, it's a chicken and egg thing. We need to get the mindset right first, the rest will follow. And yet we often try and do it the other way around. This is what sports coaches and psychologists work on with their athletes and team players and sportsmen and women. They get the right mindset and the rest will fall into place. So that's one key thing to take away from this. Think about your mindset. Think about how you could improve it. And I'm going to give you some tips here to take away and apply in your everyday life. Now, the first question I'm going to ask you is, do you talk to yourself? And if so, how do you talk to yourself? Now, you're probably thinking, I don't know, do I? Yes, you do. We all talk to ourselves. We have thousands of thoughts per day. Research has shown that of those thousands of thoughts that we have per day, most of them, more than 50% of them, the majority of them are repeat thoughts. They are not unique. So they are pattern thinking. And of those, a huge majority of them are negative. I think it's something like 60% of them are negative. So we are running potentially negative thought patterns, that just habit thinking, going round and round and round. And what's that going to be doing for us? So let's look at that now. What sorts of things do you say in your head? When I'm working with clients, they so often who lack confidence, if we're working on confidence, if that's a particular subject, so often it's things like, yeah, but what if I fail? Well, yeah, but they're much better than me, and they put people up on a pedestal, and you know, they're prettier than me, they're cleverer than me, they're funnier than me, they're faster, they're stronger, they're better. They just, you know, put people on pedestals and put themselves down. I'll just mess it up. They won't want to hear from me. I won't bother speaking up in that meeting. I haven't got anything valid or important or unique to say. You know, no one wants to hear from me. There's no point going forward and doing that presentation. I'm not a good public speaker. I can't do it. They're better than me. I'll mess it up. There's no point going on that date. They won't find me attractive. All those sorts of self-doubting things. I can't cope. You know, what if ... happens? What if I fail? All of those negative thoughts. So fill in the gaps of what do you say to yourself. It's really, really important that we are aware of what patterns we're running. Often clients have never even considered it. It's often me reflecting back in the words that they use. I listen to my clients' wording, their language, and then we'll often reflect back. Did you hear what you said? Or you keep saying something in particular about yourself. Do you know what that is? It's a repeat thing you say. No? What? They don't often even realize they're saying it. They don't often realize they're thinking it until We tune into it, and we've got to notice what we're thinking. So what first tip I would say is go inside your head. Go in there and visit it. Listen with a different ear now and pay attention. You know, I'm feeling a little anxious. I'm feeling apprehensive. I'm holding back in this meeting. I'm really nervous about this interview. I want to go to that fitness class, but I'm too nervous to go by myself. What are you saying in those moments? When you're having a real wobble of confidence and you're lacking confidence and you're holding yourself back and you're fearful and you're doubtful, tune in to what that voice is saying. What is it saying? Oh, just mess it up. You'll just embarrass yourself. They won't speak. No one will speak to you. It'll be awkward and embarrassing. What is your chatterbox or your parrot on your shoulder telling you? And half the battle, more than half the battle, actually, a huge percentage of the battle is first being aware. Awareness is such a key tool in our toolkit. We can't change something that we don't know is there. We've got to shine some light on it. So first and foremost, notice your thoughts. Maybe write them down. Have a notebook that becomes your working tool through all of this process that you're about to go through, applying these strategies. Write down the negative thoughts that you've suddenly heard yourself saying. And then we've got to rewrite them. We've got to change them. The good news about those thoughts, good news about that chatterbox, is actually you talking to you. It's not pre-programmed. It's not set in stone. It's not externally controlled. Nobody else has got, we're not the puppet of their strings in terms of our thoughts. That voice is actually you talking to you. And I say this almost daily to clients. The most important conversation you are ever going to have with anybody is the conversation you have with yourself. The difference between a confident person and a not so confident person is actually rarely skill set and ability. It's actually what they're saying in their head. If you're saying, oh no, there's no point in me auditioning, they won't pick me, I'll just embarrass myself and I'll fail and then everybody will judge me and I'll be embarrassed at home and it's just, no, I won't go. Compared with somebody else, oh God, I'm going to have a go. I'm going to have a go. They'll pick me. They'll love me. You know, it'll be great. I'll get the lead role. It'll be brilliant. And maybe I'll become famous, etc., etc. Only difference is what they're saying in their head. Somewhere in this country, there are some phenomenal singers and performers, actors, comedians, all sorts of things, team players, rugby players, football players, whatever, but they're not saying the right stuff in their heads, therefore they don't have the right confidence level to put themselves forward and audition or have a go or go for trials or to be picked with a team or whatever it is. And we'll never ever see them. They'll only ever sing in the shower or you know, whatever, because they'll hold themselves back. The thing that we've all got to do is get out of our own way. The mountain that we feel we've got to climb isn't actually a mountain, it's us. Get out of our way and we are then unstoppable. And yeah, we won't succeed in everything, that's okay. Go give ourselves permission, that's fine too. But we will definitely fail if we don't get in that race in the first place. That's a certainty. So we've got to keep having a go, trying, dipping our toe, getting out there, embracing life, just taking part, engaging in life. And then who knows what doors might open, where it might lead, the people we might meet, the experiences and the memories we will make. So we have to get out of our own way. So notice your thoughts, write them down. Why do thoughts matter? Well, everything starts with a thought. Years and years and years ago, someone built a shelter and they wanted to be able to get out of the shelter quickly, but they didn't want the wind and rain to come in, and so a door mechanism was invented through their thoughts. You know, I want to get out, but I don't want the cold and the rain to come in. Me doing this presentation started with a thought. You watching this presentation started with a thought. Everything starts with a thought, and our thoughts affect our feelings. Our thoughts, if we're saying the right stuff, can make us feel excited, can make us feel confident, can make us feel, you know, joyful. Equally, our thoughts can make us feel nervous, stressed, apprehensive, angry, dread, shame, all of those sorts of thoughts. So our thoughts affect our feelings. And our feelings then directly influence our performance and our physical behaviors and actions. Let me give you a made-up example just to highlight what I mean here. Just imagine for a second that there's a job going, and two individuals see that job spec and they both think, oh, can I go for that? And on paper, there's not much difference between them. They've both got very similar qualifications and very similar um, backgrounds and experience. So there's nothing between the two candidates. So they both upload their CVs, and they both get an invitation through and a brief about what to expect on that day. So they get an invitation, like you to come along for a 45-minute interview where you will be interviewed by a panel of 4. And then when you have finished the interview, you will be required to do a brief 15-minute presentation to those 4 about what you will do in the first 6 weeks if you get this role. And so candidate A opens the brief and reads it and says, oh my God, it's in front of 4 people. I hate interviews. I'm rubbish at interviews. And that's just with one person. I've never ever done one with 4 people. It's going to be awful. It'll be like a firing squad. I won't know who to look at. I won't know who to answer to. That all the eyes will be looking at me. I'm going to be so nervous. I'm just going to mess this up. Oh my word. I wish this was over. God, I can't wait for this to be over. Oh, and then I've got to do a presentation, and I hate doing presentations. I'm rubbish. They'll know my voice will be nervous and shaky, and I'm going to mess this up. Oh God, it's going to be really embarrassing. Well, how is that person feeling the night before the interview as it's building and building and building? I suspect they're going to be, and lots of clients say this in workshops, nervous, terrified, won't sleep, so also sleep deprived, wake up feeling sick or get up in the morning feeling sick, so nervous, I can't eat any food, my stomach's churning. So also low sugars, doing nothing to help themselves. And then imagine then what their performance is. It's probably just as they fear, very nervous, unprepared, no smiles, no good eye contact, no strong answers, no clarity. All of that will be affected, just a bundle of nerves. And those 4 interviewers will definitely pick that up. We've only ever got to sort of sit and watch at home from our sofa, X Factor or Dragon's Den or something like that, where, you know, when the candidate participant loses their nerve, and, you know, it's awkward. Even from our sofa, we feel it, we pick it up, and we're all rooting for them. Come on, you can do it. It's not a comfortable feeling. So the whole interview really is going to be affected, and that in turn is going to determine the outcome. Compare that with candidate B, who opens the same brief, reads it and says, oh my word, it's a panel of 4. I've never ever done that before. God, that's scary. Okay. Just gotta stay calm. Just stay calm. I know. I'm gonna write some notes. I'm gonna sit down and work out what I've been doing in my last role and previous roles. I'm gonna write some notes for myself, so that gives me time to think about what I've done, and maybe I could use that in the interview. That's good. I wonder if Mum would sit and give me some mock interview questions as well, and then I could practice my answers. That would be really helpful. Yeah, that's what I'll do. I'm sure I read somewhere that if you practice your presentation in front of a mirror, that helps because you can get your timings right and you can get your body language right, and I can practice my intro and all my wording. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do my presentation a few times in front of the mirror, and that will help me. Right, okay, I've got this. It's okay. So how's that candidate feeling in comparison to candidate A? Well, I suspect by the time the night before the interview, feeling a lot better, a lot more prepared, confident, possibly even excited and determined. I'm going to get this job. I've worked really hard for this job. It's got my name on. I'm going to show them, etc., etc. So that candidate, despite at first being nervous and not experiencing this situation, they're probably going to get some sleep, not the best night's sleep, but better than candidate A, because they're feeling prepared, ready, and confident. Probably, a little bit of churning stomach in the morning, but it sounds like the kind of character that would say, feeling a bit sicky, I might just have tea and toast, I'll be fine. But everything they're doing is helping them. all through their thoughts. So they get there and they interview and they're more prepared, they're excited, perhaps already, more confident, perhaps more smiley, more eye contact, better answers, better presentation, it's more rehearsed, more organized, and that then determines the outcome. Who's more likely to get the job offer? Well, I suspect candidate B, which means candidate A is going to get the rejection letter. And more importantly here, what this does then is reinforces the original thoughts, which is why it becomes a self-fulfilling pattern. So candidate A gets the rejection. See, I can't do interviews. I'm rubbish at interviews. Applies for the next job. Oh my God. It's a half-day assessment. I've never done that before. Oh, this is going to be awful. I'm going to mess this up. This is going to be so embarrassing. And repeats the same negative pattern. Whereas candidate B gets the offer, yes, and takes the job, and then 3 years later or so wants to go for promotion or wants to move on to a better company, applies for a job and repeats the pattern unknowingly, gets the brief, so you're likely to come for a half-day assessment. Oh my word, it's a half-day assessment. I haven't done that before. Oof. Okay, just got to stay calm. And runs the same pattern. So if you're ever getting a repeat outcome that isn't serving you, a negative outcome, you are almost certainly running a pattern like this. In fact, actually, I was doing this in an organization really in front of a team, and one woman put her hand up and said, this is my daughter, who is coming up on Friday for her 5th driving test. So she had failed the previous 4. And the mother said, you know, she's just running all this dialogue, all this chat in her head that she's going to fail. And she's saying things like, yeah, but Mum, I'm fine driving in the car with you at my side and you're taking me. I'm fine because you're really patient and I know you and you're really kind, etc. And I don't get nervous and I'm a really good driver then. And I don't mind, you know, I'm fine with my teacher, my driving instructor, because he's really nice. He's taught me how to drive. He's really patient and, you know, helpful and supportive. It's when I'm in the test, when that stranger sits there with their clipboard and they don't speak, and I get really nervous and I know I'm going to fail on Friday and everybody's going to laugh at me and it's going to be really embarrassing, and just I hate it in the test environment. Running this pattern. And so I suggested that the mother went home and told the daughter about this. And apparently she did do that, and the daughter thought, well, I've got nothing to lose. So changed the thoughts. And she started apparently to tell herself a completely different story. She started to say all the time, when she was brushing her teeth, when she was in the shower, at the bus stop, in her head, telling herself a different narrative. She told herself, I am going to pass my test on Friday and I cannot wait. Mum, as soon as I've got my green P shiny stickers, as soon as I get back, I'm going to take the L plates off and put those P stickers on. And then I'm going to drive you to your favourite coffee shop and buy you your favourite carrot cake and coffee to say thank you for all your help. Can't wait. And then in the evening, I'm going to take all my girlfriends out. I'm going to be the designated driver. They can celebrate for me. I'm going to drink Diet Coke all night and park in such and such car park. I'm so excited. Now, I saw the lady the next week in the next series of workshops, and her daughter had passed. Not because she changed car, not because she changed test centre or the city that she was doing it. Nothing changed other than the thought she was saying in her head. We can't drive if we're so stressed and tense. We make poor decisions in our brain. We're too nervous. Our hands and our feet aren't making smooth movements or anything like that. She changed what she was thinking, profoundly changed what she was feeling, and that changed her performance. She broke that pattern by changing her thoughts. So this is profoundly powerful. What we say in our head matters. So go inside your head. Make sure it's like a background radio sometimes. We're not always listening to it. We're not even really aware sometimes because it's quite quiet and we're at peace and rest and relaxed and just getting on with our day. It gets louder the more stressed or anxious we get, or the more self-doubting and nervous we get. That voice gets louder. But tune into it. It's a bit like a relative of yours in your house has the TV or the radio on downstairs and you're upstairs working, you're aware it's on, you're not really listening, but suddenly you think, oh, that's my favourite tune, or what was that? What did the news just say? What's happened? You suddenly tune into it because it's become relevant. I want you to go in and specifically tune to it and then make sure it's saying what you want. It's an interesting, fun station. Change the channel. If not, you've got to change those words, just as the girl did with the driving test. She didn't have to believe it. You just say it to your subconscious. Your subconscious doesn't question you. Your conscious does. It doesn't matter. Your subconscious doesn't question you. It takes it on board and gives you more of what you're telling it. This is why, if you've ever had a situation where you've got to be up at some extraordinarily early time, maybe 3 a.m. because got to be at the airport, you're going on holiday, you've got to be awake early, 3 o'clock, I've got to be awake at 3, you set your phone, and you think, what if that doesn't wake me? What if I sleep through that? So you set an alarm clock as well, so you have a double-pronged attack, and you think, right, one of them will wake me up, I'll go to sleep, I'll go to bed early, and you do, and you go to sleep, and you're fast asleep, dead to the world, and suddenly you wake with a start at 1 minute to 3, 1 minute before either alarm has gone off. And you think, oh, how weird, I don't normally wait till 7. Not weird. You told your subconscious, I've got to be awake at 3. It's so profoundly powerful. It doesn't question us. It's working even when we're fast asleep. It knows you've got to be awake at 3. It knows what time it is. It knows how to wake you. And then wham, bam, there you go. You're awake with a start at 1 minute before the alarms go off. That's when you're asleep. Just imagine when you're telling it all these negative stories, repeat, what effect that's going to be having on you on a daily basis. So make sure you're saying the right stuff. Make sure that voice has got your back and isn't just constantly criticizing you, doubting you, dragging you down, holding you back, etc., etc. Because it's you talking to you. You can change it right now. It'll take time because you've been doing it for a long time and you're really good at it and you're very practiced, but you can get there. You've just got to keep going, keep trying. Even if you slip, it doesn't matter. Don't beat yourself up. No more self-talk, negative self-talk. Just get back on it and start saying helpful stuff. So to start then, to kick this off, get your book, and I want you to take 10 minutes at least, take some time, give yourself 10 minutes, make a nice cup of tea, and write down what do you think, can you remember your internal critic often say to you? For example, I'm too ... I can't ... What does it say? I'm rubbish at ... What does it say? And start to then rewrite it. You don't have to believe it. And sometimes the word yet is quite helpful. I can't speak French yet. I can't swim yet. All of those sorts of things. They're not final. We've always got choice. I'm too ... What are you too? Are you? Question it. Try and put down at least 5. Do more if you can. And come back to this. Come back to it another day when you've noticed what your head is saying. But when you've got some answers, I want you then to think about what have those thoughts, and they are only you talking to you. They're not truths. They're not facts. They're just thoughts. It's just stories we're running in our head. What have they cost you in the past? Have they held you back with potential relationships or experiences, opportunities, jobs, promotion? And that's a big one. I'm often working with clients who managers have sent or HR departments have sent because they so lack confidence and self-belief. They're holding themselves back and underachieving. And so the organization noticed that and recognized that, and they want some support to help them turn that ship around. So what does it held you back from? Just general happiness, just trying new things, or just going to that fitness class, or that thing in the village hall recently that you'd like to go along to. I don't know, signing up for the amateur dramatics, signing up for a class, baking, whatever your thing is, has your confidence and your self-doubt stopped you from going for it? Because that's so sad if it has. And if it stopped you doing one thing, I imagine it stopped you doing more than one thing. It just doesn't stop at one. Once it wins and controls us, we let it control us over and over again. So once we take control, then the world is our oyster. So notice what it's cost you. And why do the stories that we say in our head matter? Well, they really, really do. Let's imagine that you're telling yourself that you're ugly, or you're not attractive. Just everybody else is so much better looking and more attractive than me. Look at all me, frumpy and plain, oh plain Jane, and all those sorts of phrases that we use. Well, if somebody believes that they're ugly or unattractive, then that's going to affect what they do. They're going to, often you see, then they stop caring. They stop shaving, or they stop going to the hairdresser or the barber, or they stop trying, they stop putting makeup on, they maybe overeat, they don't take care of their fitness, they don't, often they'll wear very large clothes to hide their bodies, long fringes to hide their face, and things like that. And it's really tragic to see. And so they stop caring, they stop self-care, maybe even stop showering and all of those sorts of things. And what does that result in? Well, of course, then they start socially withdrawing. No, I'm not going to go to that birthday celebration because I just haven't got anything to wear and I look a mess, and no, I'm not going, and my hair, and I'm not going to that wedding, and no, I'm not going on that date, and no, there's no point going for an interview, I've got nothing to wear. And so it actually holds us back from all of those things I mentioned earlier. What's it costing you? That story that you're saying you're unattractive or you're ugly, it becomes self-fulfilling. Let's say somebody believes they're stupid. I'm stupid, I'm not academically strong, I'm not very clever, I'm thick, all those sorts of awful phrases. Well, if they believe that and they're at school and they're saying this in their head, they're going to stop trying. They're going to do the barest minimum bit of homework just to get them through and avoid detention. They're not going to try end of year tests or anything like end of subject tests. They're not going to try in their mock exams and revise because they think, well, there's no point, I'm stupid, I've done rubbish at English, there's no point, I don't know physics, I can't speak French, and they're not going to try. And what happens? Of course, they underachieve because they've done very, very little, if anything. And so it's self-fulfilling. See, look at that. I got all D's and E's or ungraded or whatever. But it's because of this narrative and the story that they were saying in the first place that then affected their actions and then got the results. And so we've got to be really mindful and aware of what we're saying, because we can decide, you can decide right now, if we run lousy thoughts, we're going to have some really lousy feelings. And if that is then going to give us a pretty lousy life. Alternatively, though, if we choose to change that story, those stories, and start running helpful and encouraging thoughts, we're going to feel much more positive and much more confident. And that then is going to give us a much happier, more fulfilled and confident life. So you choose, and it can start from now. So just look at these. I just put these up really to just flag them up. They're red flags when I hear them in clients, when I hear them use these and fall into these traps through their language and their wording. I'll read them out to you, and you just put a little notch on your paper, a little tick, every time you say yes to the question. So do you call yourself negative names? Do you predict the future negatively? I mean, why would we call ourselves negative names? We wouldn't do that to our mates. If we did, we'd lose those mates. Who wants to be a friend with somebody that constantly calls us horrible words and names? Critically, I don't mean nicknames because they're all in jest, but I mean critically. If you were around somebody that always predicted the future negatively and was doom and gloom and negative Nancy or negative Nigel, would you want to be around them? Probably not. Again, so why do we do that for ourselves? Do you compare yourself negatively to others? Put them up on the pedestal and you're right down here. And if so, why do we do this? Why do we compare ourselves with them? Oh, they're so clever, they're so this, they're so that. You're clever in your own way, your own thing. Yeah, they might be great at physics, but you might be brilliant on the rugby pitch. We've got to just see what our strengths are, not compare others. It's like comparing apples with pears. We cannot compare ourselves with others. They're different. You're unique. They're unique. There is no comparison. Don't suffer from comparisonitis. It is the thief of all joy. Do you make things out to be worse than they really are? Why? What's that giving you? What's it costing you? How's that affecting you? And you can choose to stop now that you're aware of it. Awareness is half, if not more, the battle. Do you use words like never, should be a perfect daughter, I should be a great grade A student, I should be brilliant at football? Says who? And it's you saying it to you. Could is a much better word. I could be the perfect husband or wife, or I could be human and I just cut myself a little bit of slack at times. I could be the perfect parent, or I'm just human and I'm trying my hardest and I just need to be good enough. Ought, must, always. I had a client that came here the other day, and it was his fourth appointment, I think, third or fourth. He came to the door and I answered the door and he said, "Oh, sorry, I'm late. I'm always late. I'm late wherever I go." Nightmare. And I said, "Are you? That's really weird because you've been here 3 times before and you were on time each time. Are you always late?" "Oh, was I? Oh, yeah, what's his name? Oh, yeah. Maybe I am more reliable than I thought." He labelled himself that, got given himself a prescription almost, accepted it, kind of putting himself down, feeling rubbish. Why? Through the word always. So it's overgeneralization. Do you pretend to be able to know what other people are thinking about you? They're thinking I'm ugly. They're thinking I look stupid in this. They're thinking I'm really stupid or boring. Or how do you know what they're thinking? You don't. Most of the time they're thinking nothing about you because they're so busy in their own heads thinking about their own stuff and their own angst and insecurities. They might be thinking positive things. Gosh, I wish I was like that. I wish I could be that brave or that bold or have a go or whatever it is. Or they may be thinking absolutely nothing and thinking about their shopping list or their to-do list. Yet we think we know. They were laughing at me. They were thinking this about me. They don't like me. I hear this so often. And it is those thoughts that actually upset them because they've got no proof. And none of us are going to be liked by everybody, not even Beyonce and Taylor Swift. When no one can be everybody's cup of tea. So if we're trying to be liked by everyone, you're setting yourself up for a massive failure, a big, big fall, because we can't be. We will never be everybody's cup of tea. More down to the other person than down to you. You can be the most kindest, most positive, upbeat person in the world, and that will annoy some people because they're not. So you cannot be everything to everybody. Don't try to be. And don't mind read because you won't be right. It's none of your business what somebody else is thinking. You'll never know anyway, and you won't be accurate in your assumptions. So we need to not mind read. Do you concentrate on your weaknesses and forget your strengths? Sometimes when I ask clients to write down a few of their strengths, they actually look at me pen poised, big eyes and say, I don't know. I haven't got any. They've never considered their strengths. They have spent their life focusing on their weaknesses. Why? What on earth can that do for anybody? And yet with our friends and our loved ones, we focus on their strengths and we ignore their weaknesses much of the time. They're there. We just don't want to see them. We ignore them. We accept them. We forgive them. Why do we not do that for ourselves? That's what we need to do. Do you blame yourself for things that aren't your fault? Are you one of these people that constantly apologizing, almost apologizing for being alive? Sorry, I'm in the way. Sorry. Oh, sorry, could I have some ketchup? Don't apologize for who you are and, take the blame for things that aren't your fault. And do you expect yourself to be perfect? Because that's the nightmare if you do. That again is a thief of all joy. Much of the time it actually stops us even trying in the first place. There's no point me trying to run a 10K because I won't be able to. There's no point me going for that job. I'll just fail the interview. There's no point because we don't think we're going to be perfect. We don't even try. There's no point me doing art or trying to make that item or whatever because it won't be great. So there's no point. Instead of enjoying the process and the experience, we set this really high bar we already know in advance that we probably can't reach it, therefore we won't try. There's no point writing a book, it'll be rubbish. How do we know that? Anyway, so the power of this is to just shine some light on it, because none of these negative thinking patterns will serve you in any way at all, other than drag down your happiness, drag down your confidence and your joy in life. So zero tolerance to these. Do not do them anymore. Stop calling yourself names. Don't predict the future negatively or compare yourself to others, etc., etc. It's got to stop, because it's not doing anything for you. Equally, there's also toxic thinking patterns that we fall into, and I hear this in language, the all or nothing thinking. I failed that exam, I'm rubbish at that, I'm so stupid. No, you failed one exam. What about the others? How did you do? Etc., etc. So instead of throwing everything in, we've got to just see it for what it is, and just see, what you're focusing on, and forget throwing everything else in. Minimizing the positives. Actually, I was working with a client the other day who was saying that a new potential partner had said something really nice, or was telling me what that new potential partner had said. And then she was totally brushing over it. Yeah, but he only just said that. Yeah, blah, 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 and then carried on talking about something else in the same breath. And I said, whoa, hang on. Let's go back to that. What was the comment? And what was the meaning? And why aren't you soaking that up and enjoying it? Compliments and positive feedback, whether it's boss, loved one, a stranger, whoever it is, avoid minimizing the positive. Oh, this old thing I've had ages, it's dirt cheap, I got it from Primark. Don't do that. It was a gift. They meant it well. It was good intention. They wanted to give you nice compliment. So take it as it is. Take it as that, a lovely compliment. It's a gift. Jump into conclusions. We've said this already. Don't jump to conclusions. That's what upsets you, not what the person's thinking, because you don't know what they're thinking. Catastrophic thinking, we've mentioned that. It'll be a disaster. I'll forget my lines. I'll mess it up. It will just be terrible. That stops us from trying in the first place. It's no point. And I'll often say to clients who are doing this, what if it is a great date and it's your soulmate for the rest of your life? What if it is a great interview, you get the job, and it's just the start of an amazing career? What if you do write a book and it does get published, and it gives you great, experience and great joy? All of those sorts of things. They don't have to be big. Sometimes it's tiny things that we stop ourselves. But what if it isn't going to be a disaster? What if it's good, enjoyable, fun, stress-free, okay? And then the overgeneralizations, as we said, I never achieve my goals, I'm always late, etc. We've got to avoid those words. Look for counter evidence. Always late? You weren't the last 3 times? Check your evidence. Check the accuracy of your comment, really, your narrative. And the shoulds. Don't should on yourself. I stop clients from doing this. I ban the word should. It says who, you, usually, use could instead. Gives much more choice and greater freedom. Take that pressure off our shoulders that we're putting on ourselves. So we need to resist replaying negative events. We've got to stop beating ourselves up. In fact, actually, when something really angers or upsets or hurts us, it's generally that initial pain, that initial hurt, that anger or upset only lasts 90 seconds. Our body can't hold it for any longer than that. So for 90 seconds when that first event occurs, it's actually replaying it and reminding ourselves and dissecting it and overthinking and not letting it go and carrying it that is causing us the suffering. What is the phrase? There's some phrases that the pain is sometimes unavoidable, but suffering is a choice. So we need to resist replaying negative events over and over and over again and beating ourselves up. And why does all of this matter? And more evidence that the mind and the self-talk and the chatter and all our beliefs impact on our physically. You only have to look at placebo. Now, any drug that comes to market and is used have been through rigorous drug trials, and they have to be used in drug trials while one group gets that new drug and another group gets a fake, no drug actually, a placebo, maybe a sugar drug or something like that. They're not getting a medication. No one in that group knows who's getting a drug and who's not. They're told that they may well get a new drug treatment. So it doesn't matter what the treatment or the trial is for, whether it's headaches, angina, Parkinson's, inflammatory disease, all of those sorts of any drug trial really that's run, they always find a placebo effect. What I mean by that is the group that aren't getting anything, unbeknown to them, report, on average, it's around about 30% of them report improvement, but they've not had that treatment. It's the power of belief. If you believe you're going to get better and you're getting something and you're improving, then there's a high probability that you will improve. Even one study that I was looking at with knee surgery, where they had 3 little incisions in the knee and half the group had a procedure to get remove sort of debris or to help the knee, improve the knee, and half didn't have the actual procedure. They had the incisions, but they didn't know whether they'd had it or not. 10 years later, the people that had, even though they hadn't had the treatment, they didn't know that though, were still 30% of them reporting improved pain relief and mobility. So less pain, greater mobility 10 years on, and they hadn't had the operation. One study that I was reading about with potentially receiving a new chemotherapy. They didn't know whether they were in the sham group or the new trial group, but they were all warned that there was a high probability that they would lose their hair. In the group that hadn't received the chemo, 30% of them, I think it was 30, yeah, 30% in the control group lost their hair. And they hadn't received the chemo. And that's the power of belief over our body. Our mind and body are not separate. We are not separate from the neck up. We are one thing. If we're saying the right stuff, we'll feel the right way and we'll perform and act in the right way. And the opposite is true. So if you needed any more evidence for that, then think about placebo and the body. So a good thing to do is to start focusing on all the good things you're blessed with, things you're grateful for, things you're proud of, those sorts of things. So in your book, I would really urge you to start thinking, today I'm proud of, in terms of your confidence, I spoke up in that meeting, or I smiled and said hello to that man in the park. I open the door and say good morning to somebody. When I'm working with teenagers in a workshop, often I'll set them the target. They're often really struggling with confidence, and we have 7 modules, and in one of them, it's all about this. And they'll often say, okay, I'll put my hand up once a day in the next week. Between this module and next week, I'll put my hand up once a day. For them, that's a major mountain. They fear being laughed at, they fear getting it wrong. But actually, after a week of doing it, it feels a lot better. So then we up it. We want a subject. And at first, that's scary too. And then it becomes more familiar, more normal, and less scary. One girl that I had in the workshop then added in the next week, okay, I'll speak to people at school that I don't normally speak to. I'll offer to take the register back to the office and say hello, good morning to the secretary. Another day she went and knocked on the caretaker's door and asked for some more paper towels for the toilet. She wouldn't normally have had the courage to speak up and ask for that. In McDonald's, ask for more ketchup rather than get her mum to ask for more ketchup. It's these tiny little bite-sized steps that we can take, little steps every day. Build it, build and build and build. From one brick at a time, and before you know it, you've built a house. That's what we've got to do with our confidence. And by the way, it's a lifelong project. We're always working on our confidence because we take knocks and hits and, things happen in life and it can dent our confidence and we have to brush our knees up and rebuild it a little bit. It can knock our confidence. That's okay. That's life. But you will now have the tools to be able to do that. So focus on the things that you did today that you're proud of. that will help your confidence. Have that attitude of gratitude. The good things, spot the good things. The bad things are there. If we focus on them, we'll see them. If we focus on the good, they're equally there. And we need to do that for good well-being, good mindset, and good mood and frame of mind. So above all else, the last tip I want to give you is become your own friend. You know how to be a good mate. You've got a loved one, someone close to you that you'll champion them. Yeah, go for it. You'll be amazing. You'll do brilliantly. I know you will. We say those things to our friends. That's why they want to be friends with us. We genuinely mean it. We know exactly what to do, what to say. It's easy. It's automatic. That's what we need to do for ourselves. Become your own friend. Say that in the same voice, in the same way, because you take that voice with you 24/7. And if it's helping you, encouraging you, and supporting you, that's a much better existence. Because that voice is coming wherever you go. If it's criticizing you, knocking you, and attacking you, that's pretty grim. And we have to stop doing that to ourselves. So, in conclusion, what next? Go inside your head and listen. First of all, notice what it's saying and rewrite those unhelpful, toxic thoughts. Zero tolerance to those toxic thoughts. Change them, challenge them, look for counter evidence, and correct them. Mute them, ignore them, whatever you have to do and whatever works for you, but don't let them win, don't let them control you, and don't let them affect you. Focus on what's in your control. You can change all of this. What can you do about these situations? How can you say different things? How can you encourage yourself forward, push yourself, say the right stuff? And that will help you choose better reactions, because if you're feeling more confident, you can handle things so much better. You don't have to carry things. You don't have to carry shame, embarrassment, fear of judgment, trepidation, nerves and anxiety. You don't have to when you've got more confidence, so you can react differently. You can be kinder to yourself. So some people hate the word journal, but just keep a log, just write things down, get those negative thoughts out, put them on paper, see them for what they are and rewrite them. But more importantly, just from today, keep going. Even when you slip and you say doubting things, then correct yourself. Keep going. You've practiced it for a long time. Now you've got to unlearn it and practice new ways of thinking. So do it with a friend. Maybe get a friend to watch this and you buddy up and you support each other. Or get a coach who will hold you accountable, throw in some other strategies, flag up like a mirror the words that you use, the phrases, the doubts and insecurities, and to help you move you much, much quicker with that accountability and with challenging your old in order to get your new thinking and your new actions and your new steps. It's certainly worth it. As I say, if you can grow your confidence, everything else slots into place and you have a much better future. If you do want to make contact, this is who I am. Thank you for listening today. I wish you well and good luck and good confidence. But if you need a little bit of one-to-one support, then please do drop me a line or make contact. I don't tie anybody into a set number of sessions. You can have just one session. It's very pay as you go, book it as and when you need it, or your teenager or team member if you feel it would help somebody at your organisation. So it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. Thank you for listening, and I wish you a lot of confidence in your future and a lot of happiness. Thank you for listening and good luck.